Hello, it's Angie and we're on UK Money Wisdom. Do you know, many UK pensioners worry that they may have made a mistake or a decision that could be costing them money year after year. In this video, I'm going to take you through the single biggest retirement mistake UK pensioners commonly make, and I'll explain it thoroughly using real figures and real situations so you can see exactly what's happening and know how to avoid it going forward. To make this easy to come back to, I've also included a simple printable PDF guide in the description below. It includes the main example from the video and sets out one clear method you can use every year so you don't have to remember everything or work it out again from scratch. This is about simply understanding how the rules actually work, so you can feel confident that you're not leaving your own money unused. Now, the biggest retirement mistake that UK pensioners make is this, and that is refusing pension income because they fear tax, instead of understanding how tax actually works. This mistake feels sensible, but it quietly costs people real money. Let me show you now exactly how, using a real-world example. Before we go further, I need to be precise. This example uses the full new state pension. For the 2025-26 tax year, the full new state pension is £230.25 per week. That is £11,973 per year. And the UK personal allowance is £12,570. If your state pension is not the full amount, the method still applies, you just use your own figure. Okay, let's begin with the core comparative example, and Linda is our example today. Here's Linda's situation. She's 71, she lives alone, she owns her home outright. Now Linda receives the full state pension of £11,973. She has a small workplace pension available, and that is £3,000 per year. Linda says, if I take that pension, I'm going to lose most of it in tax. I'll just leave it where it is. So Linda takes nothing from her private pension in 2025-26. We need to look at what would actually happen if Linda took the £3,000. Let's calculate it properly. Step 1, total income. £11,973 state pension plus £3,000 private pension, which is £14,973 total income. In step 2, we subtract the personal allowance. That's £14,973 total income less the personal allowance of £12,570, and that leaves £2,403 in taxable income. In step 3, we apply the income tax, which is £2,403 taxable income times 20%, and that gives £480.60 in tax. In step 4, what Linda would actually keep, and that is £3,000 minus £480.60, the tax, and that leaves her £2,519.40. Do you see where Linda actually loses out? To avoid paying £480.60 in tax, Linda doesn't take her £3,000 pension that year, and by not doing that, she gives up £2,519.40 of spendable income in that tax year. Nothing is taken from her, no penalty, no clawback. She simply doesn't take money she was entitled to take in 2025-26. And once the 5th of April 2026 passes, that opportunity is gone forever. That is why this is the biggest retirement mistake. And you'll see this listed, as I promised, in the PDF in the description below. Let me tell you why this loss is permanent. Linda cannot go back later. She can't catch it up next year. She can't reclaim unused allowance. Each tax year, you see, stands alone. When a year ends, unused personal allowance dies with it, with that year. And that's why this mistake is quiet and costly. Let's move on to the second major mistake, and we're going to look at David's finances. Now, David is 68. He retired last year. David says, "They're taxing my pension twice. I paid tax when I earned it, and now they're taxing it again." David receives state pension, the full state pension of £11,973, and he also has an occupational pension of £5,000 per year. Here's what's actually happening. Personal allowance is £12,570. State pension uses £11,973 of it. There's an allowance left, isn't there, of £597. And that means £5,000 less £597 allowance is £4,403 taxable. And the £4,403 taxable income times 20% is £880.60 in tax. You see, nothing is taxed twice here. There is one allowance shared across income. But because David believes it is double tax, he stops withdrawals. He mistrusts the system and he leaves his money unused, like Linda did in the first example I showed you. The mistake usually starts with the same fear as Linda's, and that's often tax confusion. And we can't blame ourselves for that. The system is complicated and not explained clearly enough to us pensioners. And that's what I'm trying to do here, explain it to you, so you don't make that sort of mistake. Let's move on to the third major mistake, shall we? And that's with Sheila. Now, Sheila's situation, she's 74. She says, I've already retired. What's done is done now. And I do know that feeling very well. Now, Sheila receives state pension of £10,500, so not the full state pension. And she has a private pension of £4,000 per year. She has never reviewed her position. She really finds it all too much to bother about, and I understand that. But let's look at it, shall we? Now, Sheila has total income of £14,500. Her personal allowance is £12,570, so her taxable income is £1,930, which with tax at 20% is £386 in tax. But because Sheila never reviewed, she also reduced withdrawals unnecessarily. She worried about tax she could easily manage, and she lived on less than she needed to. Believing it's too late quietly locked her into a poorer outcome, when a simple review could have helped her a great deal. Here is the safest, simplest approach from your first year of retirement. Every April, write down all your annual income. Compare it to the personal allowance. Decide deliberately how much to take. The aim is not to avoid tax completely. The aim is to use your allowance. Accept modest tax on the excess and have more money in your life. Now, I just want to move on to a few other common mistakes that we've been prone to make as pensioners. And one is taking income in the wrong order. It can push more money into tax earlier than needed. And there's a video on this, so please do watch it. The second is ignoring savings interest, because that can quietly create tax or HMRC adjustments. Thirdly, not checking tax codes, because that can mean over or underpaying tax without realising. And also reacting to headlines instead of figures. That leads to fear-based decisions instead of the calm ones that we need to make, and the ones based on knowledge. Because once you understand what's happening, you can stop the loss. From this year onwards, you can stop those mistakes from happening, and that will give you a lot more money. If this helped, please do share it with someone who might be worrying quietly, or who's not worrying and will still make those mistakes. You know, I'm always here to help you or anyone else who subscribes if you need me. So please subscribe and please like this video, because that helps me to keep making them. I'm determined to break things down so that it all becomes much clearer to you, and you'll never make any mistakes again with your tax. Well, I think that's it for today. As always, I'm Angie, and this is UK Money Wisdom, and I'll see you all again very soon. Take care, and bye for now.